Straight ahead on 12 News, a forum on affordable housing. What advocates say is making it difficult for people to find affordable places to rent. Plus, back from Rio, a Maple Grove couple gives perspective on the Olympic Games. But first, Project on Hold, a developing story in Robbinsdale that's putting the Hy-Vee grocery store project in doubt. 12 News starts right now. Hello and thanks for joining us. Robbinsdale city officials are expressing disappointment after learning that Hy-Vee has decided to back away from redeveloping the Terrace Theater site.
The project is off for now, but the city is optimistic it can continue discussions. Reporter Sonia Goins has more on what city leaders are calling a major setback.
Ever since word got out about the Hy-Vee holdup, folks have been talking.
That was not good news. I'm sorry you told me that.
The Hy-Vee grocery store would be the first major grocery store in Robbinsdale since Rainbow Foods closed its doors in 2013.
We're disappointed that Hy-Vee is backing up on their proposal for renovation and building a new Hy-Vee store.
The Iowa-based grocery chain wants to build a 91,000 square foot store, but to do that, they would have to tear down the Terrace Theater. And some folks aren't thrilled about that idea.
Historically, it's important. It was the first large movie palace built in the suburbs after World War II. It's one of the state's prime examples of mid-modern architecture that still remains.
David and his group launched a campaign to preserve the building.
Obviously, I was very surprised to hear about the delay. I know that we had put, different things in motion, including our Hy-Vee boycott.
That pressure seems to be what caused Hy-Vee to put everything on hold.
Our understanding is it's a delay in the decision for the site. Our understanding is that they want the property owner to make a decision about the Terrace Theater.
Some residents were also upset after getting flyers accusing the city of using public money to fund the grocery store plan. The city says that's not true and say residents actually lose money if the building sits vacant.
As the site sits empty and the buildings deteriorate, the portion of property taxes that you'd expect to come from that sort of site goes down.
And late this afternoon, we also received word that the property owner of the Terrace Theater, New York-based Blackstone Group, sent a letter to the city asking for permission to demolish the theater. Robbinsdale officials don't know if that will change Hy-Vee's mind on the project. Meanwhile, as the city tries to continue discussions with Hy-Vee, the city is also trying to gather feedback on the grocery store project. Robbinsdale is conducting a survey on the city website and is hoping to get every resident to respond. And Alex and Shannon, both of these items, all of these items, will be discussed at a meeting on August 23rd.
A busy meeting.
Very busy Tuesday night. All right. Thanks, Sonia.
You're welcome.
Now to a concerning trend putting a financial squeeze on families.
Rents are continuing to increase across the metro, and rentals that were once considered affordable are now turning into luxury apartments with luxury prices.
Advocates for affordable housing gathered to talk about what can be done to make sure families aren't pushed out of housing because of steep rental hikes or changes in a landlord's screening process. Housing is considered affordable when it costs less than 30% of a person's monthly income.
What happens, for our bank tellers, our child care workers, those of us working in the service industry, those of us working in nonprofits, many of our community members rely on naturally occurring affordable housing to be able to afford rent.
It's estimated that 30,000 units in the metro that are now considered affordable will be at risk in the next 2 decades.
In Plymouth, a new place to donate clothing and household items.
So this is our donation bay. This is basically where it all starts. Cars able to pull up, come inside, and then we help them unload their donations from their car.
A Goodwill store opened Saturday at Highway 55 in Vicksburg Lane. It's next to the Fresh Time grocery store, which opens in September. Goodwill offers another way to reduce and reuse.
I think people are more conscious of their environment. I think people want to do the most with what they have. And we offer used items to get back into circulation, so they're not filling up landfills, and we're pretty proud of that.
Goodwill's mission is to help people find work. The company gives back 85% of each dollar spent in its stores for employment efforts.
A Utah man bike riding across the country made a stop in Plymouth this week to say thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. Oh, without you guys, I'd be gone.
Bob Quick
Good
thanked
morning. How
St.
are
Jude
you?
medical employees as part of his 3,500-mile coast-to-coast bike ride. In 2004, Bob had a near-fatal heart attack, and he's had an implantable cardiac device from St. Jude Medical ever since that helps manage his heart disease. Bob stopped at the St. Jude medical facilities in St. Paul and in Plymouth to speak to employees. The company is celebrating its 40th anniversary this year. The 2016 Summer Olympic Games will wrap up this weekend in Rio.
Most of us watch the games on television, but a Maple Grove couple was there to experience it all firsthand.
The whole world's there, so it's fun. And just to be part of it, to do it once in your lifetime is special.
It's worth it.
Ken and Sandy DeShannon just got back home to Maple Grove after the trip of a lifetime.
Ken and I love traveling. We have been to all 7 continents and to almost 100 countries.
But they still needed to check Brazil off the list.
About 5 years ago, I said, Ken, I know where we're going to celebrate our 40th wedding anniversary. I said, we're going to Rio. And he said, why? I said, it's the Olympics and it's happening right when our anniversary is happening.
And what an anniversary it was. They went to the opening ceremony.
I've never been to such a spectacular event.
We're sitting higher, way up high in the seats and such, but it's a great perspective looking down. And it was really fun because we had so many people from lots of different countries all around us.
They went to different events and venues.
They were selling on the beach, Copacabana Beach, a lot of these whistles. So they have a lot of this, and they use this when they do the samba.
Always in awe of the experience.
We picked the beach volleyball, and that was just perfect. And talk about people going crazy. Oh my goodness, that place was hopping.
But they also were in awe of the hundreds of athletes.
Think of all these people that have worked so hard the last 4 years to get to this one time in their life to show their skills.
Rio might have been criticized for not having adequate security or infrastructure.
We really enjoyed our experience, and we had no problems, so it was
None
fun.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
Great times.
So much so that Ken and Sandy might think about another Olympic adventure.
Since we had such a positive experience doing this, I think we talked about maybe doing a winter Olympics because we like it cold anyway.
We're from Minnesota, so.
So why not? The Olympic closing ceremonies are Sunday night, and you might recognize Ken and Sandy from the Maple Grove Farmers Market. They have a booth there selling honey. They got back just in time to get their honey ready for the State Fair.
For the State
Had to
Fair,
do that.
that's right.
Coming up, different views of the Minnesota State Fair as seen at a Robbinsdale art gallery.
And then a little bit later in sports, we'll catch up with the Armstrong Falcons in today's football training camp report.
But first, weekend temperatures cool off. Saturday may seem even fall-like. Hard to believe it, but the State Fair gets underway next week in all of its deep-fried glory.
In Weekend Showcase, Neil Persley takes us to the Robbin Art Gallery, where you can view the fair through the lens of 2 longtime fairgoers.
I've been going to the State Fair for years and years and years.
And every year, John Mihalik took his camera.
The State Fair is an interesting collection of experiences. I mean, there's millions of impressions, millions of things to look at.
It's true. The Great Minnesota Get-Together is a photographer's dream for a variety of reasons.
I like the sword swallower. Particularly, there's 2 sword swallowers here. There's the sword swallower who's swallowed the sword, and then there's the sword swallower licking the sword ahead of time to lube it up. And I thought that just tells you everything you need to know about how to do it.
John's not alone in this show, though. Fellow photographer Charles Hazelli joins in this photographic history romp through one of Minnesota's best-loved traditions.
It's one of the few places where you're expected to be taking pictures. I mean, people do not, in many places, people kind of maybe get resentful about having their picture taken. But at the State Fair, everybody's in pretty good mood. And so they think, well, you know, it's just, we're here having a good time, and well, these guys are taking all these pictures. So, okay, no problem.
Even if you're not a hardcore State Fair devotee, this exhibit is well worth taking a look at for the beautiful, sometimes humorous images these photographers have captured throughout the years. From Robbinsdale for Weekend Showcase, I'm Neil Persley, 12 News.
The Great Minnesota Get-Together exhibit is on display at the Robbin Gallery in Robbinsdale through August 27th. Coming up, Plymouth seniors don't have to travel to Rio to go for the gold.
But first, the Wayzata volleyball team looks to challenge for a spot in the state tournament this fall. Jay Wilcox serves up a team preview next in sports. As we get closer to the school year, we're getting a preview of things to come. Wayzata volleyball today.
Yeah, and they're looking pretty good. They've had a good program. You know, a lot of players in that program, a lot of competition for spots, but they look solid this year. The Wayzata volleyball team will be a good mix of returning players and newcomers. And the Trojans are aiming to make it back to the Section 5 3A final. Here's Jason Malillo with more.
Kate Berg, Kenzie Greschel, and Morgan Baffield will form a strong nucleus for the Wayzata volleyball team. All three were excellent last year as juniors and will lead a squad that has a lot of potential.
We're going to try to keep everybody involved, support everyone, and just make everybody feel like a family kind of in our team, so be the foundation of that.
Like most teams this time of year, the Trojans are figuring out how all the pieces will fit together. They have a wealth of good young players like junior Olivia Roberts and freshman Elizabeth Helmish.
You need to have players ready to play, and you have a lineup that works. But you also have to have players behind that lineup that are ready to jump into situations. A player gets hurt, you know, it's someone's just having an off night. You have to have some trust in the kids behind them, and you know, Wayzata volleyball has always done that really well.
You know, they have to know what, as a Wayzata team, what our goals are, even at our lowest level, what our goals are going through, so that the younger girls know, and we're setting that example for them.
Scott Jackson described Wayzata's final match of the 2015 season with one word: ouch. The Trojans lost in the section final to Champlin Park in 5 games.
Hopefully an experience like that where it's just gut-wrenching at the end where you're so close is hopefully they came back hungry. That it motivated them through their off season, and they came back in great shape and they're ready to play great volleyball.
Wayzata will play a tough non-conference schedule, and the Lake Conference is always a grind. These girls are looking forward to that opportunity and welcoming the challenge. Jason Malillo, 12 Sports.
The Trojans open the season at home against St. Michael Albertville on August 30th. Well, we're less than 2 weeks away from the opening night of the prep football season. In today's training camp report, we check in with the Armstrong Falcons. Armstrong had a breakthrough season in 2015, fashioning a 7-3 record in a program that's mostly struggled in recent years. This fall, the guys are getting after it in early practice sessions.
I see a lot of hard work, a lot of commitment, and I like what I'm seeing. We have a really gritty squad. We put in lots of effort in every drill.
I see a lot of effort. Everybody is working hard. We come out here, we work hard because we know that since Thomas Barber has left, we all have to come as a team.
4 starters return on each side of the ball. That includes 3 players in the defensive secondary. 2-year O-line starter Matthew Moczynski is battling an injury but should be back soon to anchor a good line with A.J. Jacobson. Running back Amadou Dunbar and back and receiver Cartier Reed provide some explosiveness.
I really feel good about our guys up front. We have a few returning linemen from last year and some size and some guys that could move. And then again, our secondary is all back from last year. We lost a lot in front of that defensively with backers and some D-line, but that perimeter, that secondary is back. And then we have a couple pretty skilled guys offensively. So
the Armstrong guys know the outside perception is that they won't be as good without now Gopher freshman Thomas Barber and some other graduated stars. They aim to prove otherwise.
We're really determined this year. I mean, everyone says we had a bunch of superstars, which we did, and now that they're all gone, we're gonna falter, but we're not. We have an amazing group of kids that can get together and just make something great.
Our goal is to at least repeat or exceed what we did last year and show everybody that it's not just one lucky year at Armstrong, that this program's actually turned around.
The Falcons had a strong 7-3 showing last fall. Jack Negan enters his 3rd season as head coach. 4 starters are back on each side of the ball, and Armstrong opens the season September 2nd at Chanhassen. So they're hoping to kind of prove there was no fluke there last year.
Exactly. It sounds that way. Thanks a lot, Jay. Up next, Rio isn't the only place athletes are testing their endurance.
We head to Plymouth when we return.
Due to the rainy weather Thursday night and Friday morning, there is a new location for the Cajun Crawfish Boil in Golden Valley tonight. That's Friday evening. It will now be held at 7500 Western Avenue, which is the home of Peggy Lepic. The event was supposed to be held at Brookview Park, which is a short distance away from the new location. The Crawfish Boil is hosted by the Golden Valley Rotary Club, and it raises money for the Prism Food Shelf. For the past 2 weeks, the world's top athletes, of course, have proudly represented their countries at the Olympic Games in Rio.
A little closer to home, though, a senior living community in Plymouth is showcasing the talents of their top athletes. Delane Cleveland explains.
So we got the 2016 Summer Olympics happening.
The scene was set for an epic battle.
Albania.
As a parade of nations
USA! USA!
marched into a ballroom as part of the opening ceremony for the Trillium Woods 2016 Summer Olympics.
The residents have been super awesome trying to get everyone together, and they've been practicing like crazy.
40 residents from this senior living community in Plymouth divided themselves into different countries.
Go Albania!
And squared off against each other in sports such as beanbag toss.
They're definitely bringing the competition today.
Golf, albeit not on a traditional course.
Unfortunately, the course here at the Olympics is set up for a right-handed golfer.
And everyone's favorite, chair volleyball.
My team is not exactly stellar.
Dick Willits is a member of Team Albania. Apparently, chair volleyball is not their strong suit.
They are over-enthusiastic and everything is going out of bounds.
On the surface, this inaugural event may look just like fun and games, but there are medals on the line and these seniors want to win.
You know, they're going for the goal. It's a big deal. So no, it's really good to see that come out.
While the competition is intense, the Olympics also highlight the importance of fitness.
The thing to do is to keep moving, no matter how much or little you can do. Just get out there and do it.
The biggest part, though, is that this event helps the residents build a special camaraderie with one another.
Because we're all just like a family here. That's the whole kind of concept.
This is such a terrific deal. It's got so many people involved.
In Plymouth, Delane Cleveland, 12 News.
Staff members from Trillium Woods say this is the first of many Olympic events. Organizers say they hope to do this again during the 2018 Winter Games. I hope they move those inside too.
Yes, me too. Exactly. Keep them moving, right?
That's
for
good
all
idea.
of us.
That's all the time we have for now. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
And remember to join us for 12 News Weekend. We'll be back here on Monday.